Blue Apron, take back dinner.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Liars Club. I'm Felicia Michaels.
And I'm Jessica Wellington.
And what we do here at the Liars Club is we have two of our comedy pals come on. We ask them to tell two stories. One is the truth, one is a lie. And then we try to figure out which one is the lie. Right, Jessica?
Damn Skippy.
That's right. Would you please introduce our mighty fine guests?
I would love to. This gentleman to my left, we've had him on once before we had video, and he sucked at the game. But
What? It's bullshit.
That's why we're going to have him back. He has a podcast called Community Service. He was highlighted on JFL. He opens for Crystalia. He was on MTV. He always makes us say that. Most notable,
do not.
Most notable for Trader Joe's, working there. He is also a Mexican-American that looks white. This is Craig Conant.
Yay, welcome to the show, Craig.
I think you just wrote my new bio.
There you go.
That's way better than my bio.
And for people that don't understand, JFL is Just for Laughs Comedy Festival in Montreal, Canada. It's one of the biggest festivals in the world. And to get on the JFL New Faces show, that's a huge thing. Congratulations to that, Craig.
Did you know that you helped me get it?
Yes. Yeah.
She did.
Woo!
Yeah.
Little tidbit.
I try to be a nugget of goodness in the comedy world.
Well, thank you.
Right. I have shit follow through, but there you go. I'm glad you got it.
No, yeah.
And I tell people all the time about you, Jessica, just so you know. Anyway, would you please introduce our second guest?
Thank you. Love you.
It was years ago, though, just so you know.
No,
3 years, 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
So she hasn't helped you out anymore since then?
No.
He doesn't need any help. Fuck, he's good. Something good's coming his way.
God. Okay, and this gentleman over here, he opens for Ari Spears. He also does a podcast with Ari Spears called Spears and Steinberg. He has a Mexican documentary coming out in the near future next year. Mexican meaning he is an American Mexican, and I think that's the name of it. He's going to call it, it's still a working title,
Yeah.
American Mexican. It's a documentary of him finding his Mexican
Look at
roots.
You guys just shared love together.
We're the whitest Mexicans you've ever seen in your life.
No, I get so much shit for it too.
I
Because
know.
I say I'm white now because I this is the suit that I wear. Why am I gonna I'm not returning the suit?
I say, it pisses me off because my grandma was an illegal immigrant that didn't speak English. So, I'm fucking Mexican. I know I look white as shit. I tell them that. But then they're like, you're not Mexican. I'm like, all right, go fucking talk to my grandma then, asshole.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me
No,
get
I get
this.
it. I live the same world.
Yeah.
Let me get this Mexican name out. This is Andy Steinberg.
Yeah. Well, my mom was Mexican. My dad,
Yes.
he was a
My
little bit
mom
of Jewish.
was Mexican. Bam!
What was your favorite thing your mom made for you to eat that now as an adult? You're like, God, I fucking miss that.
Her tacos, man.
Really?
Yeah, and it just sounds dumb because
Yeah. No,
'cause-
my
yeah.
mom's chicken tacos.
Chili
Out
Rayanos,
of this
dude. You
world.
got
Did she
a
do
mom
it-
that
did
makes
she-
good ones?
yeah, did she do it in the iron frying pan and
She
You
does
don't get to play
hard-shell
along
deep
with
hard
Right.
shell
fry.
deep fried, but with that in the pan on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
That's
Oh.
the way to get it done, right?
It's the best shit
Oh,
ever.
wow.
Wow, they're bonding.
Yeah.
They're
Bonding,
so hardcore.
That's so cool, so cool. And sitting here to my right is one of our on-air producers, Austin Walker.
Hey, Austin.
Austin, what kind
Hi.
of Mexican are you?
I'm not. I'm about a quarter nut.
Get out.
Sorry.
He seems thrilled. Anyway, and from our behind the glass in the sound room, I guess that's what we call the sound booth, the working area, whatever that is. Please give it up for our other on-air producer, Michael Evans.
That's me. What's up, dudes?
Are we gonna let people know that this is a special holiday episode?
Yes, we are. Did you just fucking burp out the ABCs over there? Jesus Christ.
She gets real mad at me,
I
so
did.
you
No.
better
I
calm
did it.
down.
No, there's a difference. At least he turned his head
I turned.
and went the
It
other
doesn't
way.
matter if I turn.
Jessica's like this.
He went off camera. He went off camera
yes,
to do his
yes.
burp. You
That's
stay
how
on.
you do it, Jessica. That's
I
how you
had
do
it
that.
brewing. I drank bubbles. I'm sorry.
But Austin, what's happening? What does that mean for today?
Well, we don't have live players today, unfortunately, so we won't be able to go back and forth with the audience. So we've got to be extra on it ourselves. And,
So maybe every once in a while you can just pop in and maybe think of what an audience member would have said.
Oh, I'll try to do that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's a good thing you asked him to do that because he might not have figured it
Yeah,
out. Like,
I
that's so weird.
would've never
right? That
guessed.
was so, like, yeah, he
Michael
knows
was
that.
just going to sit in there and comment as a
I know.
one audience member.
That's very funny. So how is it going with your podcast with Ari?
It's actually
Aries, right?
Aries.
Aries. Okay.
He
You wouldn't believe it. She practiced that for a week.
Yeah,
She
we were
practiced
talking about
Aries.
it all week. How to say
he
it.
responds either way, so he's used to that. But no, it's a really fun podcast for us because we do it on the road, and it gives us something to do besides nothing, and we just talk about what's going on either in the road or what's on the news, and it doesn't have everybody wants to have a podcast. I think that has look, this is a great podcast idea. I like the concept, but we know what we're gonna do, right? We don't have that, so
Right.
it can go either way. We almost got in a fist fight on one of them. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Over
so-
what?
Race.
Oh, that's
Because you're Mexican.
He didn't believe you were Mexican.
No. He knows the structure, but I always take the white side, and wildly he takes the black side. So we get into these discussions, and it got heated at one time, and it just makes it interesting though, and the emails that we get afterwards are amazing. So it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, good. Oh,
Don't worry, you know what? Me and Felicia are becoming like family, and I feel a bra a coming.
You think we're no? Because you'll kick my ass.
But that's what my family does in the holidays, so
They
that's
fight?
probably why.
They fight?
Yeah,
They fight your family.
yeah.
Yeah.
My dad hit my Jewish uncle.
That's because he knew he wasn't going to hit back.
Your dad's a real one.
Yes, he is. And what about your podcast? Because you have a new podcast. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Community service. We
Uh-huh.
talk about drugs and
Uh-huh.
arrests and farts, poops.
Uh-huh.
Real highbrow,
Uh-huh.
The loose theme is maybe in a bad event that made you into a better person, but most of the time we just riff and talk about drugs and farts and whatnot.
Have you been
Sobriety.
arrested?
Yes.
For what?
A lot of sobriety talk on it. I threw firecrackers at police on horses,
Where?
Hermosa Beach.
Oh, wow.
I got raided. I don't know. I got brass knuckle. A lot of arrests.
He used
Only
to be into
Only
drugs
four. I
a
used
lot.
to do a lot of drugs.
Yeah. What was your favorite drug?
OxyContin and cocaine with whiskey and weed.
Wow.
In that order?
Nom.
Wow. My
Didn't
dad
matter what orders.
My dad was a Vietnam vet, and so he had fibromyalgia, and they gave him at the VA, this is like 10 years ago, OxyContin, and he took it for a week, and he threw it in the trash. He's like, fuck this shit.
Oh, dude. For those of you that don't know, OxyContin is synthetic, government-made, 100% pure heroin in a pill that you could take
Yeah.
like a Tic Tac.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be careful. Don't do it.
How'd you come across your first one?
You just find a way.
Mm.
When you say 100% pure synthetic, that doesn't make sense, does it?
I mean,
Mm.
it's I guess not, but it's it's they've done studies to where OxyContin is actually more addictive than heroin.
I can
because
definitely
it
believe
goes
that.
in and it's designed. It does what it's designed to do, and that's it. There's no fillers. That's what I meant by that. 100% pure.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like 100. It's like a 100% synthetic that has 100% the effect that a very strong heroin would have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a levels thing.
Yeah.
I like the voice of God coming in.
I did
Sorry
too.
about
Fixing.
I did too, because I always know what I'm trying to
just
say,
saying
but
it,
I'm
yeah.
in my head like, am I saying this right? And I was like, yeah.
I got my first OxyContin when I was walking by a VA hospital, and this ex-Vietnam vet threw a bottle
Threw it
away.
at
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's how I got mine.
There you go.
Lie. No.
There you go.
No, but because it comes across naturally, like you go to the dentist and they give you little 500 Vicodins, and then you just take those and you're like, oh, and then you find out there's 750s, and then you're like, oh, there's Norcos, and then you're like, oh, there's OxyContin.
They gave me
It's-
Norco for my tooth.
Yeah, it's just crazy because we started taking them like candy in high school because it was. It was like one and a beer, and then all of a sudden, it just like in the movies, it just turned into an
Now,
ugly habit.
this is something we would do, and I don't even know if this really works, but we would crush up like a Xanax and then put it in our joint.
Depends on what it is.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if Xanax works. OxyContin works. Vicodin does not.
Yeah, I was going to ask
Some
when
of them
you
can.
did OxyContin, was it just taking the pill, or did you crush it up and snort it? Like, what was your delivery?
You can smoke it,
I
too.
snorted it and smoked it.
Oh, really?
You could smoke it, but I would say like I'm gonna smoke weed with OxyContin, but really I'd put one flake of weed to clog the hole, and then just dump OxyContin in, and then I would just get dope sick and vomit. And I was
Wow.
living with my mother, and I was like, I gotta change my life,
Yeah.
She was like,
Dark days.
everything's all right, but you
No,
were...
I just locked the door because I didn't want her to see. One time I thought I was overdosing, but I like didn't want to tell anybody, so I was like, I'll just go to sleep
Jesus
for
Christ.
Because
for 18 hours.
That cures
Yeah.
an overdose.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I woke up and felt like I cheated death. I was like, ugh. I was like, uh-oh.
Wow. Wow.
Almost a whole day passed. Anyways, I'm here now. I'm sober.
No. So I think that would be interesting if people wanted to listen to your podcast. If
Yeah,
you
check it
are
out.
It's a
talking
great
about that.
podcast, for the
Yeah,
record.
Yeah, and you have really good guests on it. So why don't we jump into the stories? So we'll rotate them around. Since Craig has been here before, I think you should start.
That sounded backwards. Did that sound backwards?
I
Like
know.
he has experience.
No,
Let him.
Trust me, bro.
He's
you go first.
horrible.
You go first.
Okay, so I just tell one story.
Just tell one story.
All right. So about, I guess about 6 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
I was in New York
Okay.
and I had kava. I don't think they have kava out here.
What is that?
What's
kava?
kava?
Kava is it's like a healthier Chipotle. You know, they have chicken, but it's bowl style. So this I was having this
All right.
kava. It's big. It's a big meal, and so I had that. And I went to then we went to the Stand Comedy Club out there, and we did some other stuff. We ran around the city, and I was leaving the Stand, and I could feel like a
Oh no.
rumble like in my
Yeah.
stomach.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, you know what? I like home court. I don't want to play an away game, and I thought, okay, I live in Jersey, so I just have to take the path home. It takes about half an hour, 40 minutes.
Fuck, that is an away game.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So, but I
I
you know,
wouldn't.
I
I
risk
know.
it.
I thought I had time.
I'm
I thought
home
I
game
had
girl
time.
all over the place.
So and I'm feeling all right. So I'm walking over to the path, and that's the train, and I get over there, and it's closed because they're doing a lot of repairs. So that one side's closed. So I have to walk across the street to the other side, and there were some problems with the path running back and forth, and so I had like probably a 40-minute wait there. And then then it's like 15 minutes to the next stop where I get off and switch to another one, which should be another 10 minutes away. And that turned into another 45-minute wait. And it's really, now it hurts. And
Yeah, you know what? Now you know what it feels like to be an Uber driver in LA where no one will let you use their bathroom.
because, well, you can like just become a customer for buy a donut. And
You can't just ask people you're dropping off at home, Jess. That's weird.
that's a solid move, though. That's a.
Hey, can I come in? You don't have to tip me.
I brought my own toilet paper.
Sweat. Just fucking.
I do carry my own toilet paper.
You did?
I carry baby wipes everywhere.
They just look at you like, I know that look. It's no way, lady.
Anyway, I'm waiting, and I'm like sweating. I really am. I'm sweating, and I finally get to my station, and from my station you can see my apartment. It's only like a 7-minute walk.
So this is like a 3-hour journey already,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it's late at night. Now it's like probably about 2:40 in the morning.
And you're going to where? Brooklyn? You're in?
No,
where do you live?
I'm in Jersey. I'm in Harrison, New Jersey. So it's next to Newark. Okay, so I can see my apartment from the pass station, and I'm walking through the parking lot at the pass station, and I just stopped because I'm in so much pain, and I really think I'm about ready to shit my pants. I was like mortified. Like I stopped. I didn't move, and I could just feel it, and then it went away. I farted, which would be perfect for your podcast. I farted. It was a beautiful fart, and I felt like
Some pressure release.
and I said, okay, I'm gonna make it. I can see the apartment. I'm gonna make it. And so I start.
When you get in those
That's
moments,
the hardest stretch.
Yeah. So I'm walking.
when you get in your moments, that's when I start to like hardcore talk to myself.
Yeah, I'm talking.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, don't poop, don't
Yeah,
poop,
you
don't
can
poop,
make it.
don't
You
poop,
can do
don't
this,
poop.
dude.
I just pray.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah.
please.
You
If
got
you'll
this,
let me
yeah,
not
yeah,
shit
you-
my pants right here.
It's
I will
just
go to
poop.
church.
It's just you got this far in life. You haven't done.
Fecal
You haven't,
matter.
you haven't done
No
this in a
matter.
while. You'll be okay. So I start walking, and you're right. With every step, I'm like, hey, relax,
Yeah,
breathe,
exactly.
breathe. So I'm walking, and where my apartment is, there's 2 parking places, but they're just flat lots. That's all they are. So I walk by one, and there was an opening. I'm like, man, maybe I should just zip in here. And I'm like, dude, you're a human being. You're old enough. You can make it. You can see your door to the apartment. You got to make it there and up the elevator. So I walk past that one, And then I get to the next one, and right at the beginning, if there's an opening, and I look and I go, man, that's the one. I should go in, and I did it, and then I took like 10 more steps, and that same feeling that I had back at the parking lot occurred, and I was like, I'm not going to make it. And I walk a little bit further, and there's another opening to this flat piece of ground, and I just run in there and undo my pants and kneel up
In the
against
parking
in
lot?
the parking lot, this
Uh-huh.
parking structure. It's dirt
Uh-huh.
though. It's dirt. I'm not an animal. I am a little bit, but I grab the fence and kind of lean back, and it's now drizzling on the same time. So it's really feeling like a sad movie.
Uh-huh.
It's dark. It's drizzling.
Oh, I thought your butt was drizzling.
That's
what
I
I
was like,
thought,
wow,
yeah.
you are getting descriptive. Fuck
no. And I'm bare-assed, and I start to shit. So I'm shitting, and this car drives by, which is the worst because now someone's watching me, and I look homeless sometimes.
Yeah, like
So,
just in general.
In general. So it was they were
Did you
probably.
make eye contact?
I felt like a dog when you look at a dog when it's shitting. Because
Right.
once I saw it, I couldn't take my eyes off of him. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this together. And I kind of stared him down.
Like, yeah, what? I'm shitting.
And then, almost like as if God intended, I look down at the ground and there's a plain line piece of notebook paper, white.
Nah.
Unwritten on, just plain, and it's,
Not
and it's
wet
been
from-
it's been getting drizzled on, so it's soft, but it's
Like a baby wipe. You
a
would
baby
like
wipe.
it, Austin.
It's up my alley.
and
Deep in your alley.
I basically just
It was up this alley.
yeah, I just did the paperwork and I dropped that thing and pulled up my pants, manned up, walked home, got up to my apartment. My girl was waiting there and she goes, "What took you so long?" And I said, I told her the story and then went and jumped in the shower. That's my story.
So there was no cameras in this parking lot structure?
No,
The car was filming.
the car might have been filming.
Snapchat,
TikTok.
TikTok.
I was in an area though.
The most viral TikTok.
I was in an area in Harrison where they're like a homeless dude taking a shit might
Uh-huh.
not have been a big deal. So I don't think that I freaked anybody out, but it's just every day I have to walk past there and I have to think about that.
Now, this might be a interesting nugget, right?
Nice.
Must you say
Nuggets are-
nugget? Must
You
say
didn't
nugget?
ask me. I didn't say whether it was nuggets or it could have been real loose.
Yeah, like what
We
was
all
it?
know
Could've
that
been-
was a spray.
Yeah,
Could have been
'cause-
drizzle.
Yeah, I said it was a lot like Chipotle, the place that I ate.
That's
So
a
yeah,
sprayer.
so it could have been anything. Go ahead. I'll let you.
But this might be a little nugget. I don't know if you remember when we had Guam Felix on,
Uh-huh.
that he
Oh,
told
yeah.
a very similar lie.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Eerily similar. I think it was even raining.
Yeah. Well, because
Well, I think
everyone,
that was
everyone
the-
That's
shits
the
out in the
episode you
wild.
listened
to. Yeah.
Everyone has a story.
A parking lot.
Yeah.
How many
It
people?
was an alley.
No, I thought it was like a river or something.
No.
It wasn't a river.
I've shitting.
Oh, maybe it was river. Or
It was
shit.
like an alley, but it was
I've shit in a
like a
parking lot,
parking
bro.
area, and it was by a
Happens,
car,
happens.
and it was against a wall, not a fence.
Right.
I'm just saying it is eerily,
Well, I think that's
poopily similar.
Yeah, well, I think most people's diarrhea out in the wild stories are similar.
Are they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
look
would-
for a place that has no traffic, where you feel safe, where you feel a little hidden, where you know what I mean.
Right. So I mean,
where there's no camera.
as much as I've pooped in the wild,
Uh-huh.
and I've pooped in the wild,
Okay.
I don't know that I've ever done it by a car.
Well,
Why? I would totally do it by a car.
Where
if
they
it was
can't
yeah.
see-
You guys don't TP houses in high school and shit on the car because you have toilet paper and wipe your ass and slap it on the
No, no
windshield?
one does
Wow,
that.
never
No
did
one
that.
does
genius,
that.
though.
taking
Genius.
it up,
What's wrong with
taking
you
it
guys?
up a notch.
on,
I
baby.
love it.
God, I was playing.
That's
I was
nice.
Still,
little
you
league.
didn't shit next to a car. You shit on a car.
Yeah, the hood.
What were you saying, Michael?
I was saying, what a genius idea. I was really little league back then. You know, we were never shitting on the car.
Yeah.
You know, that's like an upper decker. I mean, somebody who takes it to another level. I mean, I love it. I love the idea of
Being
that.
that I lived in New York for almost a decade, and I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
so it's about to come, buddy
yeah,
boy.
no. I just can't imagine that if you know already it's going to be a shitstorm coming. Like if you know the feeling you're getting, and you're just leaving the stand, and you fucking live in Jersey. That to me seems crazy that you just wouldn't use
That's
the restroom.
insane.
Yeah, because aren't
Are
the
you afraid
restrooms
of
upstairs
public
at the
restrooms?
stand? Aren't
Yeah,
they upstairs?
but remind you, the restrooms are busy. There's people there.
It's a single one at the stand there too,
It
right?
is upstairs.
Yeah, I have shat at that bathroom actually.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And you're
like a real man would, Michael.
and you're hurrying because you're in there going, this is the only bathroom. I'm in here
Right.
blowing it up, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of people out there. This is going to be an embarrassing walkout.
Yeah.
That's the home court. And by the way, the bathroom here is no pleasure to take a shit in either.
Why?
No.
Because when you
Fuck
do it
no.
here, it's a screen
Uh-huh.
and the glass is open.
Right.
So if you blow up that bathroom, I ran out to go upstairs to see if I was letting
Yeah.
people know what I was doing in there. Luckily, it passed
the
by.
best bathroom to. I don't mean to be this person, but I would do belly room if I had to take a poo. I would do belly room.
Yeah, but
bathroom.
again, that's one stall in the ladies' room.
Yeah, the one in the belly room guys bathroom has
Yeah.
like a saloon door. It's like half
Yeah.
door. You can't. They wouldn't
Well,
even
there's
cover
only
me. I don't think.
one in the belly room for the women.
Right, but
one
it's
toilet.
but it's completely closed with
It
a
is,
door
but
that
if
you're
there's-
not part of the rest of
right.
the bathroom.
But if there's a show going on,
yeah,
there's very likely there could be a number of women waiting right outside that door.
And this
for
is
you to
why you
finish.
want home court.
oh,
You
I
don't
don't
want
care.
it
If
to
I've already done my
Oh, I'll
set
do
and
it.
I have to take a shit, I'll take a
I'm
shit.
not I'm not
Right? If
displaying
you've
my
already done
wares
your set,
around
what
everybody.
do you care if the audience sees you? If you've already done your set, what do you care if the audience sees
I'm-
you?
I've brought booty wipes to the comedy store.
I'm always afraid
I
they're going to
always have
recognize
butt
your
wipes.
shoes.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I brought butt wipes to the fight.
Okay.
'Cause I knew it was
Well,
coming.
we have spent a lot of time on that story. That's a first great story. And Craig, what about yourself?
Okay, I was home alone. Why is that funny? With,
These better not both be true, I'll tell you that.
What? Don't scare him.
I was
Don't
home
scare him.
alone with my cousin, and she was pregnant, and she was going into labor, and then she was like, "Hey, I need you to take me to the hospital," you know.
Yeah, you said this on stage the other night, I bet. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And then I was like, all right, but I was a drug addict at that time, and I was living with my mom and my cousin, pregnant cousin, and my other cousin who's in and out of prison.
Oh, that's so Mexican of you, dude.
I
All
told
those
you I was
cousins.
Mexican. And then so I was like, all right, but let me get high, you know, because this is gonna be a long day. And I smoked some OG Kush, and me and my cousin, pregnant cousin, go there, and we're with my other cousin meets up, and now we're in the labor room, and the doctor asks us, do we want to see a baby being born? And me and my other cousin were like, yeah, we want to witness it. And then we know it's weird, so we ask my cousin's permission, and she says yes. And then so me and my cousin go to look at my other cousin giving birth, and we're staring at her vagina, and nothing is happening, like for a awkward amount of time. And so we're just staring at it just like this, and we keep looking at each other like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we want to witness this, but not this part. And then I don't know how long it was, but it truly felt like an eternity. And then the doctor says, oh, I'm so sorry, it was too soon, it was, you know, and so nothing happened. So we just stared at my cousin's vagina for like 2-3 minutes, and then
Would you guys have small talk during it, or like?
no, we just kept going like.
You're like, well, it's not what I
Like,
thought
we
that
just
looked like.
me and non-pregnant cousin just kept giving each other the
Is
look
a
like
non-pregnant cousin a boy or girl?
girl.
Okay.
So me and my girl cousin are watching my other girl cousin give birth, and then like it was just a lot of like, what the fuck? Like, come on here, push, get it out. This is awkward. No, and then so the doctor says sorry, too soon, and then we go back from watching and hold her hand and shit, you know. And then like 20 minutes go by, and then he's like, all right, come back, baby's crowning now. And that shit is the craziest shit I ever seen in my life. It was like a fucking alien. It's just whoosh. Once it started to come out, it was out, you know. Once the head popped out, it was out within a minute, you know. And then me and my other cousin, non-pregnant cousin, were just, you know, we were just like, what the fuck did we just see? It's like, we're aliens, dude. That shit is crazy. And then, yeah, I got to cut the cord, and my cousin was hungry because she was in labor for like 22 hours, like a long time we were camped out there. Like, I don't know if it was 22, but like 16, 18 hours. Like, it was all day. It was really annoying. No, just kidding. And then, I bought her a pastrami sandwich from Lewis Burgers on Carson.
This is what you brought, the one who had the baby.
Yeah, 'cause she'd been
Did
in labor.
you
And she's-
the whole time she was there? Because you said it took 16 or so hours for her to give birth. Did you smoke or do any drugs?
I absolutely went to my car and got high. Yes. Yes.
Do you
I did.
think you were high when you were looking at her hoo-ha before it was ready to?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Do you think that because you were high, you weren't able to judge time correctly?
Yes, but another augmenter of the time was
Uh-huh.
the fact that it was my cousin's vagina.
Right.
You know?
No, I know.
So it was like it might have been 12 seconds, but the
Yeah.
fact that I was high and it was my cousin's vagina,
It was very
felt
bright
like
light
4
too,
hours.
right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be
like-
would it be kind of cool though that every time you did see a woman's vagina that you would bring them a pastrami sandwich?
That'd be a good guy thing.
I know that sounds like a joke because it's like vagina,
Uh-huh.
you know, the
Oh,
hacky
nice,
roast beef,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
joke. But I swear, like,
Uh-huh.
because Lewis Burgers is down the street, they have good pastrami.
Was it
They do.
was her vagina well kept?
Or was
I mean, it's my cousin's vagina.
Well, if
You
you
were
were
still a
staring
witness,
at it,
yeah.
Yeah,
for
dog.
3
Yeah,
minutes.
but if you're 9 months pregnant, I wouldn't be down there trimming the trees.
Well, give us the rundown.
yeah, I know.
There was some bush, you know.
Yeah.
She's a mom and
Yeah.
she's pregnant.
Oh, she was already a mom?
Yeah, she has 4 kids.
Oh, so this is like, that's why. Was this the 4th kid?
Yeah,
this is so
She was like, fuck
So
it.
it really
Anyone
popped
could look.
out.
it was
Yeah.
high and tight.
Yeah.
that first one probably didn't come out as fast as that fourth one that you saw.
Yeah, she was in labor forever. Once that head peeped out, it was
Yeah.
like, boop. Yeah, shit. That's what was also so shocking. I was like, oh fuck, that was like, wow.
Well, explain this because I got to photograph my best friend giving birth. So explain what happened when the baby came out.
Man, I'm so jealous, dude.
Like what did the doctor do? That's how I'm trying to get him in his lie.
I was in shell shock from the vagina. No, I don't really remember this. I remember it coming out and it was covered in slime and it was like a weird color because
Did she poop?
I was gonna say, did she
She did
Andy
not
herself all
poop.
over the place?
she did not poop. But the kid before she did poop, and we make fun of him because he fell in his own poop. You know,
Dumbass.
He's sensitive.
He was walking in a
goes,
parking
"Oh,
lot.
Yeah.
When I was in my mom, I ate my own poop.
How do you do that?
So I was a month overdue, so I was a grown baby inside of her stomach, basically, and I pooped inside of her, and I inhaled it.
Wow.
So much makes sense now. about Jesse.
Jesus Christ!
And now there's a dead cat in her
How
freezer.
come they didn't take you out?
There's a
Why
dead
did they
cat in
wait
her
so
There
long?
is a
I don't
dead
know. It
cat
was
in
back
her
in the
freezer.
day, and my parents are white trash. Who knows? But they just happened to be traveling through Gainesville. They were taking my brother somewhere.
Go Gators.
And my mom thought she was having some like indigestion. And my dad was like, you know what? We're already here. Let's stop at the hospital.
It's a good hospital.
Right.
Shands.
And just give you checked out. You're already overdue. You're having some indigestion. So they stop.
Real quick though, Craig was unsure about the cat in your freezer.
Oh, yeah, I do have a dead cat in my
She has a
freezer.
dead cat in her freezer. It's gray.
Yeah. We've been over
It's
it.
all curled up like a sleeping
Why don't you
position.
bury it?
Her roommate does not know there's a cat in her freezer. Okay, go on.
Why don't you bury it?
Because it's marinating.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, we can talk later.
She has a weirdness
You
with
can't just
detachment.
say that.
I know.
I think it's great because
I killed the man
Yeah.
yesterday. Anyways, on with the story.
Craig's reacting like a normal person, I think.
Yeah,
That's
I
normal.
think
I just like the idea that the roommate doesn't know that it's there. To
Yeah.
me,
What-
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's what blows
What
my
about
mind.
your chicken nuggets? Like, how do
She
you...
eats them. They're right there on top of the cat,
They're not on top of the cat.
on the
guess-
shelf above the cat.
I guess
Any-
the freezer doesn't kills germs.
Right. You're fine. It's fine.
Fleazer.
I want to get back to you freebasing a turd.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So they stop at the Gainesville Hospital for a checkup, and when they do that, my dad said they just all of a sudden they rushed her in, and he was like, what? He was trying to get into all the scrubs and all that, and he was like, wait a minute, why can't I be inside? What's happening? And they just rushed her in, and they cut me out, and so C-section. And then I was like 8 pounds something, and they put me in the preemie unit because of everything that had happened to me.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I was on the ventilator or whatever, all that stuff.
You're
And-
eating shit.
Yeah, and my dad said I was like the I looked like a giant in there with all the preemies.
I bet.
You were like a baby Jonathan Waters film.
She had that same haircut.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, Jessica. Was
She had a little
your
dead cat.
was your mother a big woman or a small woman?
She was
or-
tiny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And they weren't like, well, I'm a month overdue. Maybe I should go to.
Well, yeah, that's why they decided to stop.
Yeah. I mean, before that, I mean, they didn't think to do that before.
I don't know. I mean, if I wish I would. I mean, I guess I was there, but I don't know.
Okay.
We're saving a hell of a lot of money keeping this baby inside.
Yeah.
Cross your legs.
We're saving on diapers.
How long has it been in there? 9, 10 months? Doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
9,
if
10, it's
she's
close.
ready, she'll come.
I know you're due, but we got these scanner
That's
tickets,
exactly
and we gotta
what
go.
they probably said.
She's ready, she'll come.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what they said.
All right. So, well, we've had 2 stories, and let's move on to your next story.
The next story. Okay. This is a nice story though. So
That's okay.
It's nice. Nice is fine.
You know what? Sometimes cleaner stories are
Yeah,
even
we've heard
better.
a lot of poop stories, to be
Yeah,
fair.
Yeah, well,
you
no,
know,
I
we don't
wasn't.
want to say that
No,
you're not
no,
original.
we love
no,
poop stories.
No,
We're
Yeah,
just
but
saying
no, it's just so nice.
we
though.
like you shake it up.
Okay, well, good. Well,
There
this
you
is the opposite end of the spectrum then. So about 10 years ago, well, I have two boys, and about 10 years ago, I had come out of some bad financial times, and I was working as a server at a restaurant, trying to do comedy. And
I ain't mad at you.
yeah.
I'm an Uber driver.
Okay, yeah. So I'm doing my stuff, and the people that run the restaurant that I'm working at, they do a homeless dinner on Christmas. So every Christmas, they would do this homeless dinner. It was my first year working there, so I did it, and I was very moved by the homeless Christmas dinner. And
Were you
so,
pissed that you didn't get tipped very much?
no, I wasn't, because even though I'm Mexican, my Jewish side, I don't really celebrate Christmas. So it was easy to be there, and I saw what like a nice thing we were doing. They would go to a couple shelters, and they would have buses, and they would bring the homeless people, and they would make this nice dinner. And I thought it was, the first time I did it, it was kind of required. So I did it, and it moved me. And then for the next 9 years after that, I continued to do that dinner, and but I started bringing my kids with me, and I wanted them to see, a different view of life, because I had worked my way out of some financial distress, and then I decided to be a comic to put myself back in financial distress.
Yeah.
But then it was just such a moving moment that this is something I do every year with my kids now, and I make sure that I don't work in Christmas, and I'm back in Phoenix so that I can
At the same restaurant.
at the same restaurant.
How old are your kids?
My oldest just turned 21.
Uh-huh.
Well, he's going to turn 21 in January. My youngest just turned 19 in August.
Are they out of your house?
Yes, they have their own apartment. That's why I moved to New
Jesus
York.
Christ.
Yes, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I feel so like I'm done. Like this
Yeah.
is my life now
Yeah.
again. I
Yeah.
haven't had that feeling. in a
Felicia
long
still
time.
has one at home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How old is yours?
He's 20.
Oh, and he's still at home.
Well, he went to college. He went to art school, and he had to come back.
Oh.
But that's how artsy people are. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have to let him back in.
Well, I did though.
Oh.
What are you gonna do? You can't throw your kid out.
You can't,
right?
but no, but I'm very fortunate because Max, my oldest, and maybe it's because he didn't want to go to college. I wanted him to go to college. I was on him about going to college, and his last year of high school, he told me that he wanted to become a barber, which I kind of get the idea of having a trade. So I didn't support it wholeheartedly, but then he convinced me that's what he wanted to do, and the kid makes more money than I do right now. I'm hoping that I can adjust that someday, but he and him and his brother have got their own apartment. My youngest son is on the autism spectrum. I didn't say that, but that's one of the other reasons I wanted him to see these different kinds of life. And they live together in Phoenix, and it's really nice. But they're
good.
looking forward to this Christmas. This year, though, we're not going to do it because they're coming out to New York because I want them to see New York at Christmas time.
Oh, nice. Oh,
I
very
have
nice.
I'm sorry, this is a thought.
Before you do
Okay.
that thought, Michael, are you manhandling the microphone,
Am I manhandling it?
like holding it, or because I hear rumbling going on? I don't know if anybody else hears that.
I hear it.
Yeah, it went away.
Do you hear it?
Maybe
Yeah,
this
can
is
you-
rubbing it, but it's not.
What-
You rubbing your chin on it, bro?
Nope. No
Is
chance.
it you holding the mic? I'm not, mad. I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure.
it's usually off when I'm holding it, but I'll just make sure it still is.
Why can't it be woman handling it? Why does it have to be man handling it? Like, we have to do everything. We're the ones that cause all the problems.
Whoever wants to handle it, Andy, I'll let him handle it.
Non-binary.
Yeah.
All right, so Jessica, what was
Jesus Christ. Anywho, this is honestly just a thought I had the other day when I was walking through Food for Less and I bought my tub of popcorn for the holidays. What about, men that got tattoo, and this I think was big in the 90s, got tattoos on their head? Like they shaved their head and they got tattoos on their head and they're like, oh, I'll just grow hair there if I need it, right? If I need to cover it up. And then they didn't anticipate that they would go bald
Okay.
later in life.
Okay.
And now this tattoo is exposed because there was a guy working there at Food for Less that had a tattoo on his head that was clearly now forcibly bald. And I was like, oh, I wonder if he didn't see this coming.
What was the tattoo of?
I don't know. It just looked like, I don't know. It wasn't, it was kind of a mixture. I don't know. It was like a design. I don't know how to explain it.
Wow. All right, that's interesting that you thought about that.
Yeah, where'd that come from?
I don't know.
That's
This kid
interesting
was a
that you
barber.
thought about
Oh,
that.
it's because the barber. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there you go.
There we
That's
go.
how you tied it all together.
Oh my God.
Tattoos are expensive.
I'm
I
glad
think-
you said
yeah.
that, Felicia. 'Cause
Yeah, I was like,
even
fuck.
I was like, why the fuck are we talking about
I was
this?
like, how long have I been zoned out that we're fucking...
Interrupted
like,
with
what?
I'm
microphone muffles.
I'm glad you did it though, because that's always me. It's always they're like, why are you? I don't know.
But why
Popped in.
would you get a tattoo on your head though and cover it up? You spend all that money to get the tattoo,
A lot of gangs do it.
so they can be like undercover.
Yeah, my cousin has Southeast LA on the back of his
I
head.
wonder if
and
that
big
was
block,
it.
And he has zip codes in Norwalk, and
on his. Oh, okay.
on his head.
Well, I think the moral
have
of the
shaved
story is don't do it where you can get your, what do they call those? Sand traps. My son calls them sand, when people first recede. So, like, you don't want to get a tattoo, like, and have, like, a widow's peak.
You
don't
mean
wanna
like
do it
this
right there.
one?
Yeah, like that
Okay.
one. Yeah, I know.
Oh, you have a face tattoo?
Oh, yeah, she has a face tattoo. She has
Oh, I seen that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a rash.
Of her cat.
Oh, is that of your
Yeah.
dead cat?
Yeah,
That paw print from your dead cat?
Sure. It's
No,
blood.
Oh, wow.
No. It's when the cat used to knead her on the temple.
Oh.
When I die, put me in the freezer. When I die, put me in the freezer.
Probably the cat struggling to keep from being put in the freezer.
I'm going to put another animal in the freezer so we can talk about something else.
Okay, well,
I'd be afraid to come over your house for
You
Thanksgiving.
could just bury it.
But on a real
Good
note
idea.
about his story, which was perfect for the holidays, it's actually really, it's really hard to volunteer somewhere on Thanksgiving.
it's really not, though.
It is. They
Why?
get filled up.
Yeah.
I've tried
Uh-huh.
because everybody wants to help during the holiday season.
But what they did is they bus people. They put this together themselves, and they actually had packages where they would give deodorant, toothbrushes, socks, because that's the other thing that homeless people
It's
need.
I don't understand the concept of telling like like shit myself story and then like the most goody two shoes story on the planet. Like,
Well, it's funny too, consecutively
But-
because. Well, sorry.
no, go ahead.
It makes his first story funnier because he said like he could easily be mistaken for a homeless person just shitting himself outside. It's funny to imagine him in a parking lot bent over shitting, going like, no, I go to Phoenix every year. I fly.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these guys.
Yeah.
No, but it is a
I
brilliant.
have a podcast.
It is a brilliant move, though, to tell two wildly different stories.
It's true.
Because although we are a podcast, we're also a game. It's your turn, dude.
Okay, I was in high school, or
That's
going
the
into
fake
high
one.
school.
You weren't in high school.
I was.
That's where he popped all the
And,
Oxycontin.
It's true. That was after graduation.
Where'd you go to high school that
West High
Oxycontin was
School.
so readily available?
L.A. County.
Hmm.
And then my neighbors, they go out of town. They go to the cabins a lot, in the woods, and and they
go to the cabins.
they
Well,
do.
like,
You know,
like
in the
Arrowhead or
woods.
Big Bear.
Big Bear.
Yeah,
Big Bear. Yeah.
It's probably Sugarloaf, right?
And then they
Like there can't be cabins anywhere else. It's so funny.
Well, that's what people in Southern California
Yeah.
do. I know a lot of people.
They
That
call
go-
it the cabins.
They just go to their
Yeah,
cabins.
like we should all know where the cabins are.
In the woods.
Yeah, in the woods.
Exactly.
I talk differently than most. Anyhow, they so they said, "Hey, can you pet sit our animals and feed them?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then
God damn it, we've heard.
Did we just have this story last week?
No, no,
Well,
no.
you guys just
Okay, I'll stop. But I almost
Thank
think
you,
he's told
Michael.
this one on this.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
what did I tell last time?
I thought you told, but I'm not gonna go ahead.
Wait, I don't remember.
Well, I mean, I feel like I remember this now. I thought you telling this. I don't want to say it, but I could.
Say it.
you rocked his boat, Jess.
Yeah. What is
Say it.
what is the story that you think he's telling?
You ended up shooting the window.
Oh shit! I
And
did
then-
tell this story. It's a good story, man. Yeah, I found a gun and almost murdered my friend. Well, now I-
Almost.
Now you have to come up with another story.
I know.
Well, the first part of this did come true, that you're really bad at this game.
Because I have trouble making shit up.
Well, do you guys remember what that story was? If it was true or a lie?
I think that one was the truth. I don't remember, to be honest with you. But he did ask me before the show, is it okay if a story is 80% true? So I
Yeah.
bet that first one is 80% true.
Or maybe-
I don't know what to do now.
Jessica, why'd you do that? Why'd you do
Well, this is our
that?
job. I think I'm pretty good at it.
Well, yeah, but you know he sucks. You have to be gentle with our
Oh.
guests. You have to be gentle.
You just said he sucks and
No.
said be gentle on the guest at the same sentence.
Well, I mean, you know that you said you're the one that said he's terrible at this game.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, but it actually never occurred to me to be easy on him.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's all right.
No, so you
And
gotta
now I have to
tell another true
tell
story.
another
Is that,
true story.
is that what? See what I'm saying,
All right,
Jessica?
all right, all
now
right.
we know whatever
I got
fucking
one.
story you
If-
tell.
But she didn't
if
say
this
it, so she didn't-
story is 70% true, that would be more false than the 80%
Yeah.
true story.
Wow. Andy's a smart dude.
Hey, so I was in Venice Beach
yeah.
and I found a gun. True. I was in Venice Beach with one of my best friends. It's my old drug dealer, and they gave me shirts and drugs. I'm loyal for life. Anyways, so we're on acid and we're drinking at what's it called? Townhouse and Danny's in Venice Circle. You know.
Okay.
And we're getting shit faced on acid.
By where the post office is?
I don't remember a
Okay.
post office, but where they
Such
have.
an adult thing to say. By the post office, he's talking about a bar.
I'm talking about bars and acid. You're like, oh, where I mail my letters. No. I send off my
Jesus
Cosmopolitan mail check. Hey, where they have the show, Venice Underground, right there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she's about to do it.
Yeah.
So me and my buddy were on acid, and he's a drug dealer, and he has drugs, and just like a napkin full of ecstasy, like 8-9 ecstasies. You know?
Napkin full.
Yeah, just a little ball of drugs, and then we're tripping balls, and we're starting to hallucinate. And I don't know if you've done hallucinations drugs, but they.
Okay.
I've done a bunch. When you see the cops, whether they're after you or not, whether they standing 400 feet away, looking the other direction, they're the devil. They're Lucifer. You get this. Like, oh no, they know, So my buddy has a napkin. We see cops. They're not after us. They're just standing there just doing fucking duty because it's Venice and it's ruckus, know?
Right.
So he panics and he throws a napkin on the ground. And I don't know what it is at that point. And I was like, because he was like, like this. I was like, what was that? He's like, it's ecstasy. This is pre-Molly days. I'm dating myself, though. We didn't have Molly back then. This is ecstasy. And then he says, it's drugs, and I was like, oh, fuck. So I pick it up immediately, And then now I have it, and then the same shit, but some time passes, maybe like 15, 30 minutes, I don't know, I'm on acid, And then I see the cops, same cops, and I'm like, ah, and I'm like, now I have it, but I'm like, I'm going to ditch it. And as I'm going to throw it away in a trash can, it's Venice, so there's there's a lot of homeless people,
Uh-huh.
you know, and this homeless dude asked me for money. He goes, "You got any money?" I said, "No, but I have drugs. You want them?" And he's like, "Yes." So then I open them up and hand him one, and then like all the other homeless dudes like perk up, you know, like, oh, and then I started handing them out to the homeless and giving them drugs, dosing them
Like
up.
a priest.
Yeah.
Wait, so
Body
were
of
you just
Christ.
being kind, or why did you want to rid yourself of them in that moment again? What?
Because the cops, and I'm hallucinating.
Right, but that's
okay.
did that seem like a longer play that you could get caught
Yeah.
doing too, to like go and
Yeah,
hand out drugs?
yeah.
Like now
You
you're
know?
dealing in the open
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah, you know, when you're on acid and you see a hungry homeless man who wants some ecstasy, you give him the drugs.
Oh, so you
know?
guys were on acid and not ecstasy.
Yeah, he just had them in his pocket.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Sounds like a shitty drug dealer.
no, he's good, man. He's
No,
good.
no,
But
but
a
you
great
said
guy.
yeah, but you
Raise the
said he
family
was
off
a
those
drug
drugs.
dealer, and that just sounds like such a pussy ass.
To have drugs on him is a bad.
No, just
Oh.
that he got that spooked that easily.
Oh.
You
Yeah.
haven't been on strong acid. though.
Okay, no, I have been on.
Have you
Strong-
been
yeah.
on strong acid with a narcotic in your pocket in front of police?
No.
Then, yeah. Also, are you on? Have you been arrested, raided, and on probation or parole?
I've been in a jail cell.
I'm just saying-
I was arrested by the Department of Homeland Security. Does that count? But not with acid.
Nah, yeah, but I'm like 90% sure he was on parole or probation. So it's like it stacks up. You know?
Okay.
It's
All right.
anyways.
Felicia stripped.
I
What is-
know.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah, you ever done that, Craig?
Yeah. You ever stripped?
Nobody paid me.
Me either.
And then, yeah, I just got a bunch of homeless high, and I couldn't help but think that, I know I don't. There's a bunch of sensitive pussies out there, you know, that think this is wrong, but like when I was handing it out, this was gold, you know, like they were like, oh, like thank you so much. This was better than food, but then I couldn't help but think that like I made them happy for 6 to 12 hours, you know, they feel good. The
Oh, there's a
cement-
huge down.
yeah, but then afterwards,
Yeah.
they're coming down off the drugs and they're still homeless, you know, like I just like, did I level up their depression? And then
Well, also as we know,
I checked them out for quite a good chunk of time.
as we know, recently Bert was drugged, right?
Yeah.
By Ari, Ari Shafir.
Not Ari
Not Ari.
Spears.
As opposed to
Aries.
Aries spirits. Yeah.
But he was drugged, and then he said Ari tried to give him some pills or something afterwards because the come down off of ecstasy
Is awful.
can be
Oh,
very
really?
depressing.
Oh,
5-HTP.
it's so bad.
Yeah, like it can make
Yeah.
you extra depressed.
5-HTP is
Borderline
the pill you're talking
suicidal.
about.
Yeah.
What is that?
5-HTP is a supplement that is the building blocks of serotonin for your system, so that you can begin to rebuild your serotonin after you've depleted it by using ecstasy.
Thought you were giving out your Twitter handle.
I know.
He has a very obscure Twitter handle.
So where's Twitter handle? And it's like that. Like what? I'm dyslexic. That's why I can never remember your Twitter handle.
Yeah, he's. I got him. He's totally right. So whenever you're on ecstasy, you let out all your good happy hormone,
Right.
right? So it gets depleted because it's like a
Right.
rush of it. So then you have to take the supplement afterwards as you're coming down because you don't have enough of that happy hormone.
Okay, thank you for explaining that, Jessica. Anyway, those are two really good stories. And I think we should take a vote. I think we should have Austin recap Andy's first stories, and let's take a vote. And by the way, I wanted to say very quickly, this is a Thanksgiving podcast, right? That's what we're
Yeah.
assuming, right?
And we've
When
got
you-
both stories of giving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just want everybody to know when you've run out of leftovers and you need to go grocery shopping, why don't you go give a big look at Blue Apron? And here's a little bit about our sponsor. When I'm home, I don't want to run errands or have to figure out a meal plan, especially because I have kids. That's why Blue Apron is a great solution. Their chef-designed recipes are easy to follow and give you a balanced, delicious meal. Blue Apron is a quick and easy way to make high-quality meals that everyone can enjoy. Use promo code LIARS to get $30 off your first order. Blue Apron, take back dinner.
All right, Andy's first story. About 6 weeks ago, he was in New York having some kava. Then he went to the stand, but as he was leaving there, he felt a rumbling in his tummy, thinking he had enough time to get home, but there was a holdup on the way, and now he's getting poop pains, and he can see his apartment from where he's at, and he's walking through a parking lot. He lets out a big fart, and he's like, oh, it's a little bit of relief, but then he sees a little opening by a car, and he goes over there and takes a parking lot poop. It's drizzling out, and this guy in a car sees him. They lock eyes, stare at each other for a minute. Then he just happens to find a sloppy, wet piece of notebook paper and wipes himself clean, heads on home. This story hit close to home because I had to poop in a cave last Saturday on a film shoot. They had no porta potties and no bathrooms when I got there, yeah.
Wow.
It was very terrifying. It was in the desert.
I like it much better when you say it. It sounded much nicer when you said it.
Thank you. Story 2, much shorter recap. About 10 years ago, he was working as a server, and he was pretty hard up. Well, the restaurant that he worked at had a Christmas dinner where they feed the homeless, and he was moved, touched by it. So he continued to do it for 9 years, and then started dragging his kids along to it, and they finally convinced him to go to New York for Christmas instead of feeding the homeless this year.
Yeah, that's good. And also, just because you said this is Thanksgiving, the most needed thing for homeless is socks. So if you're listening to this and you want to give something to the homeless, instead of cans of food, which people do give socks. They need socks.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
Thanks.
But I think that story is horse shit.
Really?
I do. I think you don't fucking do anything for free, motherfucker. That's what I
Racist.
Oh, no, it's not about being racist. It's just you're a comic, you're fucking kid. No, I don't buy
He's
any
here for
of
free.
that.
Promotion. Yeah, that's true.
Still.
It's why he wouldn't be a paying customer somewhere to just shit instead of shitting in a parking lot.
We didn't know it, but Aries actually Venmo'd him $100 to be here in his place today.
Aries Shafir?
What do you think, Craig, of his story? Which one do you think is a lie?
The homeless.
The only two things that makes me that questions me about thinking the homeless, feeding the homeless story is a lie, is the miraculous piece of paper that had no writing on it, torn from a notebook. Yeah, that.
Right, that is.
Yeah, and how long have you lived in New York City?
About 3 months.
All right. Well, I was gonna say if it was like a long time, I might give you that then because
Well, that was the first thing somebody told me when I was going to spend a week in New York. Is they're like, because I'm kind of a upset tummy all the time kind of guy.
Are you an IBS guy?
Yeah. I'm it's a terrible time. So everybody's like, hey, make sure and get your shit out of the way in the beginning of the day because you can't be stuck out. You can't, like in New York City, if you got to shit like all of a sudden out in the city, you're fucked.
Okay.
There's nowhere to do it.
I have never heard someone say, you better take your shit before you go in the city.
I've heard people say, take a shit before you leave the house for the day if you're in New York.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Larry David actually had a list of the best bathrooms in New York City.
Oh, I'm sure that's
this is the
yeah.
thing.
because
Yes,
it is
I
a thing,
believe
yeah,
that.
and you
I
needed,
believe
yeah,
that,
you
yeah.
needed to know where to go, like
Yeah.
in what area. He could tell you the best place to go take a shit.
And I can definitely relate to being somebody that will hold it as opposed to going to a public
Really?
bathroom. Oh, yeah. I will wait
Really?
until it's like painfully terrible.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
How many times have you pooped on yourself?
Not a lot. Recently, I did one of my last road
Not
trips.
recently.
One of my last road trips home to Florida, I did, but I thought
3
that I was
times
letting a
that
little
trip.
fart out while I
Yeah.
was peeing and driving at the same time. But it wasn't.
Oh
and
my God,
so,
that's a lot of information.
yeah.
a
So
lot of information right there.
I can relate to that, to thinking like, oh, you know what? I could probably make it home.
This is
I'd
our
be
time to bond
fine.
because I too
Yeah.
have pooped on my road trip from North Carolina to here.
Oh, see.
So
There
are
you
you
go.
are you all on that? It's the homeless story that's.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
even I'm just like you've only been there for 3 months, but I just can't even imagine in any kind of scenario late night in New York City if as you're leaving the stand you have to go to the bathroom and you're going to Jersey. I just can't imagine that you would make the decision not to go to the bathroom right then and there because
Also, you're
Especially at
gonna
night
you're
like
going
that.
back. You think
Yeah.
that the
No,
first
no, I still think this motherfucker doesn't do anything for free. But that's the one thing that does make me question that in the white piece of paper. Austin, what do you think?
My biggest thing is the piece of paper.
Yeah, I agree.
That felt like
Yeah.
a loose detail, if you will.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to go with my gut. Say that the first is true. All these puns and nobody gives a fuck about them.
I loved it.
Michael, what? Or
So
what
you
did you
think the
think?
first story is a lie?
It's true.
Oh, you think it's true?
You think
Yeah.
the poop
Okay.
story's true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You really think out in the middle of Jersey in a parking structure there just happens to be a
'Cause
piece
every-
of paper
yeah.
that has no writing on it?
a
Everything
lot
you
of litter
just said
bugs.
did not support that.
Oh, maybe I think the other then. No, I don't know. I still think that he shit in public.
Oh, so
'Cause
you
I
think
just
the
don't-
second story is a lie?
I don't know. The other
like
story
you
was
did.
so short, and like I wanted to go kind of like how the Josh Wolf thing was. Like he's a reputably nice guy, so his story made sense. He was a nice guy. I don't know, Andy.
I bet he's a very nice guy.
Well,
Nice
if the
enough to-
second story is a lie, it's funny that the lie is just like, oh, yeah, no, I don't do that. That's the whole fucking lie.
So what do you think? What do you think, Michael?
I don't know, man. Like, I didn't even think of I didn't even consider not that he didn't do that until you go, I don't think you do anything for free. And then I was like, well, Jessica did say you spell Steinberg the Jew way before we started.
Nah, she did say that.
And I was like, man, it's all kind of adding up here.
When I said that, it had nothing to do with that.
Finally, we got her.
Yeah.
No. It's just you look like someone that would rather hang out on a couch than get up and have to do shit for other people.
He also looks
Or like at a
Somebody that would wanna
temple.
poop
Maybe
at
at a
home.
temple.
Yeah, the people that do the homeless dinner are Jewish though. The people that started that. So just to let
Well,
you know.
now we know it's a lie.
It's a tax
Come on,
write-off charity thing.
Jesus, Jessica, come on.
But no, honestly, I think that's a lie because I have tried to volunteer serving homeless on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I call up and people are like, "No, we have
because everybody
so
does it
many
to
people.
feel good about themselves.
Yeah, in the and that's what I was trying to do.
What
you
was
know?
the
So-
restaurant that did you say?
Over easy. It was a breakfast place that I worked at.
That was a quick response.
It was a
That
quick
was
response.
pretty natural.
I'm sure he worked there.
Well, one thing I just thought of is like I've noticed humble brags typically tend to be true, and that is kind of a bit of a humble brag. Like, yeah, I help the homeless on holidays. No big deal.
Huh.
I bet he does help them in some form or fashion. That's why he brought up the sock thing, and also to make it seem more true.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
All right, has everyone voted?
Craig, you voted. What was your? You think first one's true?
I don't remember.
That was the poop. Oh, you think he pooped, or you think he helps the homeless?
He did not help the homeless.
So you think the
Okay.
first one's true, and Michael, you think the first one's true?
I'm with Craig. He didn't help the homeless.
Oh, we all think he didn't help the homeless. We all think you don't do shit for the homeless.
Is this where I answer now?
Yes.
Did we all agree? The disappointing part of this whole thing for me
Oh, we're right.
is that I did it once.
I knew it.
And those air quotes, and I said it was kind of mandatory. It was mandatory. I did it the one time. I never did it again.
Dude, have we ever all guessed the same and got it together?
But the thing that makes me the mad about this is it wasn't my story that gave me away. It was my personality, and you guys didn't even fucking know me.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You seem like such a sweet guy, and I was just like, let's go with that. You're probably actually not a sweet guy.
Wow, I'm glad I felt so strongly about that. There you go. But I didn't mean about the Steinberg part of it. I did not mean that. No, that I meant
No,
more
don't-
about you.
don't feel
you
bad. There's a
look
lot of
like
people who
a
feel that way
couch potato
about
kind
you.
of guy. I meant more about, your appearance.
Andy, I was being racist, to be clear.
Okay,
I was being racist.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the honesty.
There goes your
Because
SNL shot, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, so godsend piece of paper then? That was real.
I swear to you, 100%. That story is 100%.
If
Do
you
you
pray
live
while
by
you
a?
poop. That's
Do you
all
live
gotta
by
do.
a school?
No, in Jersey, what you're talking about? No,
Because of the paper notebook.
no.
paper.
I'm gonna tell you.
Such a weird
No,
reference.
and you
Did
know
it
what?
look like it was pulled out of like a spiral kind of
It
notebook?
did, and I swear to you, I thought that was what was going to win this for me. Like you guys were going to hear that and go, "That is such bullshit." And I'm in like the most weakest position in my whole life, feeling like I am just the nastiest piece of shit in the world, other than what just came out of my ass. And I'm looking, and I look down at the ground, and I swear to you, it's just drizzling and raining. And that piece of paper was so new, and it was full. There was nothing on it, and it was like God put it there and just said, "Yeah, you made the right decision to shit in this parking lot. Go ahead and wipe your ass."
I think the most vulnerable position that you've ever been in is right here when no one thought you were kind to the homeless. Personally, myself, but all right, well played, well played, well played, well played.
His whole walk to his car. I'm a good person. I swear. I've done things. I gave that one lady $1
All right, so
for that piece of paper.
why don't you recap Craig's story?
First story, he was home alone, Kevin McAllister style, with his pregnant cousin who was going into labor. She needed to take him, she needed him to take her to the hospital, but he was drugged out of his mind, so he agrees and gets a little bit more high before he drives his pregnant cousin to the hospital. When they get there, the other cousin's there. The doctor offers and says, hey, you guys want to watch this baby come out of her? And they're like, well, yeah, of course. But nothing happens for a strange amount of time, so they're just staring into her south mouth for something like an eternity.
South
And
South
so-
mouth?
Wow.
That is so fucking offensive.
Yeah, dude.
South mouth?
South mouth.
You think saying south mouth
That's
is
the coolest name
more
for pussy I've ever
of
heard in
a
my
strong
life.
character choice than saying pussy?
Give me that South mouth,
South
baby.
mouth. Woo! Jesus
Be a good
Christ.
restaurant.
I'm gonna
That's
start
amazing.
asking. I'm gonna start asking for blowjobs by saying North Pussy.
Yeah.
South
Oh, that's
mouth.
good because I'm like North Pole.
I'm going to name my daughter that. That's the worst thing
Dude,
I've ever said in
South-
my life.
I have never heard that. I have never heard
You're welcome.
South.
I
Where-
think
what
you
kind
should
of-
recap all the crime stories that's on
Yeah.
NBC,
Well, what's-
and just like
What's the booty hole?
Yeah.
Brown mouth.
Brown Star, little BH
Brown
action.
Star.
Let me get that brown mouth, baby.
dude, that is amazing.
Is that like a real word that you grew up with?
I just
South-
wrote it, Southmouth.
No, but I mean, had you heard it before, or you just made that up?
I don't know. I probably don't think I've ever heard Southmouth before.
Okay.
I was thinking Lady Mouth at first, but
That-
then I
that
was like,
makes
that'd be the
you
same thing
look
as a mouth.
even weirder.
South mouth.
It rhymes.
Wow.
Southmouth.
Wow.
Anyway,
Unbelievable.
eventually,
Good work, Austin.
Thank you. Eventually, the little alien slid out of his cousin's vagina, and they were shocked at like the ease of it. And he bought his cousin some pastrami, and that was the first story. His second story, he was in Venice Beach. Now, keep in mind, this is his
Third story.
third story. Yeah. His third story,
I
he
don't
was
like this game.
2.5. He was in Venice Beach, and he was with one of his best friends / former drug dealers, and they're out on the town on acid. His buddy, the drug dealer, has a napkin full of ecstasy. They're tripping balls when they see a bunch of cops. They panic. His buddy tosses the napkin, but Craig, not to let good drugs go to waste, scoops him up, and then he sees the cops again. He starts to panic a little bit. So he goes to toss them in the trash, but then he sees a flock of homeless fellas and just starts bequeathing them to each homeless person. Like a little pill-popping pope.
Yeah.
Do you accept this body of Christ?
Body of Christ.
Espírito Santo. South mouth.
There is so much to unpack with your stories, because since you started telling the second story, which then you had to go to the third story because the second story you told on our
First
Last
first
podcast.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I was just
Lost?
last podcast.
Oh, lost.
Yeah, I was
Last.
last. I'm sorry. I was
Lost.
just thinking about what fucking pregnant woman going into labor thinks to herself, "Let me ask my loser
But it
cousin
wasn't even her
who
that
is
asked. The
all-
doctor asked.
No, who's all drugged up to drive me to the hospital." Besides the fact that we kind of already.
I just
have
think it's
this-
weird that the doctor's like, here, you want to come see the show? Come
I don't
on
think
in.
I don't think that's weird at
To
all.
that many people? I thought like
No,
one person was
no,
allowed to go
when
back.
Only
I
two
saw
of us.
my friend Claire give birth, and I got to photograph it. And
Sold
You
out.
keep saying got to like it was a
No,
privilege.
I want to
Privilege.
see
It's
South
interesting.
Mount.
a birth
Ugh.
so bad. I am so jealous.
No, because my kids are adopted, so I never got to go through, thank God, the birthing process. And so my friend Claire, when she had her second baby, she was like, I know that you never got to see, experience birth. Would you like to come see me give birth?
Man, that's
But
a
what
good
I'm
friend,
getting
dude.
at, yeah, she's cool. What I'm getting at is the doctor was very like obstetricians. They're very like, "Whoa, and I'm a genius and life." So I do get. No,
South
they are.
Mount.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they think they bring life into the world.
Right. So I do believe that part of it, but I don't believe your cousin who is going into labor would ask the person she knows what's up in your room that you've been locking yourself in there doing drugs to drive you to the hospital. That part I don't get.
I've got some real thoughts on this one, but I'm going to let you guys all vote.
Maybe she picked the
And
guy
then I'm
who
gonna-
she knows where to get a good sandwich
What-
after.
Yeah, well, what I thought was interesting is when you asked him if what happened after the baby, and the sound of the placenta leaving the
Yikes.
body makes a noise that you do not forget.
Like, what is that noise? I don't remember that.
You don't?
part.
I don't remember that noise. I guess
right.
I
Oh,
remember
yeah,
it.
that's,
Yeah,
that
it's
doesn't
coming
bother
back.
me.
But that's why I was
Scatman
asking the
Crothers coming out.
question about what did the doctor do while the baby was coming out? Because with my friend Claire, it came out pretty quickly, and he was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
and then,
they make a
like, what they
big
do-
da-da-da-da-da-da.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big moment.
And I
when
thought it was just science that they always shit themselves when they give
No,
No, they
not-
don't.
No, not always.
Well,
a
and
lot
he
of
said
times
she
they're
was
given
in-
enemas before.
But we
And
didn't.
she
did
was in
poop on
labor
one
so
child.
long.
But we didn't ask
Look
good
at
questions
him with his
like.
fucking information of most times
We
they give
didn't-
him enemas before. Like he's that fucking knowledgeable.
But we
He
didn't
was
ask.
there, Felicia.
We didn't ask what size the baby was because that can.
It was a medium.
I don't remember.
See, he doesn't remember any, but that's the I don't remember. You remember?
He didn't remember what story you voted on for you.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
I didn't remember that I told that story already.
That's true. I don't know why I'm questioning the not remembering part.
Cabins in the woods.
But since you did ask Jessica about if 70% of the story is true, but I changed 30% of whatever conversation we're having, I do believe some of that story is true, but maybe the part where you
I don't
stared
like
at her
this game.
where you stared at her pussy. I think that is the lie because that's the funny part of the story, and I think that you made that up because
Can't
I-
you just have a normal podcast where we just talk to one another?
What was your vote, Andy?
Well, because it was the second story was thrown in, I gotta go with the second story.
Do you think
is-
it's a lie?
or true.
I think it's a lie because he had to do it on the fly.
I think that could be why it's true.
I think
No,
I think he was like, "What's the
but-
craziest thing I can think of?"
But you don't scoop up drugs and then get nervous the second time you see the cops and give those drugs away because you scooped them up, and now
Yeah.
now you're
Yeah,
giving them
no.
away. You already saw the police,
Yeah.
so that fear should go away.
You know
I
what's
was gonna say you'd be nuts not to grab him off the ground, and then giving him away negates it all
Yeah.
afterward.
So the
Sorry,
giving away
Felicia.
part, yeah, that's
that's
what
all right.
that's what
That's all
did that to me on that story.
You know, it's so
Yeah.
funny as I was talking yesterday to my 18-year-old about acid, and I was like, you got to be careful.
You
I
did
don't want
this
you to do acid because everyone that I know that did a lot of acid is really fucked up. Like I had a boyfriend who had a brother who did a lot of acid and literally fried his brain. And then I had another friend who did a lot of acid, and he's very slow at putting sentences together. So I think you did a lot of acid.
What are you talking about?
And I think that story is true, even though I have problems with the story. I think the first story is a lie and the second story is true because I think you were really fucked up if you were all on acid and you guys are because you guys must have been pretty fucked up for a drug dealer to throw it to the ground. And so
He probably had plenty more. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the first
okay.
story is a lie.
Skittles. they
Mike,
call
your
them
mic's on, so go ahead and
Skittles.
what's your vote?
Oh, my bad.
You know,
I don't like that. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm gonna go same as Felicia. I guess that first one. No, wait. You said second one's a lie?
I said the
First
first story is a lie.
Or yeah, first story's a lie for me. I think he gave the drugs away on acid on Venice Beach.
I do too.
All right, let me tell you what I think.
We're all ears.
Okay, thank you. I can't wait. I'm sorry. He's an unconventional guy. He was on this podcast before, and he told two truths. I think in this moment,
One of the few.
because when he asked me if a story could be 80% true,
Yeah.
and I think he took this literally, I told him as long as the meat of the story is true, it's okay. And he got his sister a pastrami
Oh
sandwich.
my God! It's a different sandwich.
A pastrami sandwich. And I think maybe he just got a different meat.
Of the story.
There's no way. There's no way. But I did originally write that he said burger, and then we started calling it a pastrami. So I don't know.
You think that the lie is the pastrami sandwich rather than the looking at his cousin's vagina?
Well, I said it depends on how he looks at it, because I said as long as the meat of the story is true.
Uh-huh. Oh, you.
So it depends on how he takes
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Because maybe he really did get his sister a pastrami sandwich.
I want my lawyer.
Well, I think the big majority of his first story is true, but I think it is a lie that he had to sit there and look at his cousin's vagina. I think
And
that
it definitely
part is
is
a
in his
lie.
act.
If you say it the way you said it,
Uh-huh.
vagina,
Uh-huh.
it sounds so horrible that I'm
But if
starting
you
to lean
say
on your
South
side.
Mouth.
Yeah.
it doesn't
Why, what's
sound
wrong with
nearly
saying
as
vagina?
South
It's
Mouth.
the way
said
you
it like
said
a
it.
lawyer.
Yeah, you said it
Like-
with such intensity of. It sounded negative. Vagina, like it had a negative
Why
tone to it.
vaginas are powerful.
Yeah. It didn't sound like a powerful vagina. It sounded like a neglected, ugly vagina.
I think you're projecting on me, and I don't like it, sir. I do not like it.
I've never done this, but I'm going to vote that both stories are true.
Oh.
I don't like that. You don't think that he would tell the truth in
I
a
think
lie.
he changed the meat.
Okay.
So you think the
I think
first
you
story is
changed the
true?
meat.
You think so?
So ultimately, the story's really true.
You
Except
gotta
for he
vote
got
for
him.
one.
You gotta pick one.
vote. You gotta pick one.
Well, then I guess that makes the first one kind of a lie, not really.
So the first one is a lie.
Okay.
Everybody
but they're both
voted.
true.
No, I voted that the second one was the lie.
You voted the second one was a lie.
The second one's a lie. I don't believe that he gave those drugs away.
What did you vote?
I voted
I
the
vote.
same as y'all. That
Okay,
I
Michael.
vote that South Mouth is my favorite word.
I also vote that, first one's a lie.
Okay. Which one is the lie? Can you remember which one is the
Yeah,
lie?
I don't like this game.
It's all right.
They're both true. I don't like the lie. I don't like the liar. I don't like the lie. I had a fucking lie ready to go, and she shit on my thunder. I was gonna say I shot my friend. And the truth of
I'm
the
not
matter is, I
God,
missed.
I cannot believe you
But
fucking picked it
you
out, Jessica.
That
Picked
is so
it
awesome.
out, and my brain, I was like, ecstasy.
Did you give away those drugs though?
I did.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
all
It's
true.
You
all
really
true.
looked at
All
your
true.
cousin's
so technically,
vagina?
I was right
All
because I
true.
said the first story is a lie. So it's still the second was
They're
true.
both true.
So
They're
I thought
both-
the second one was true. So still,
Yeah, but I'm right.
yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm still,
You're
I'm still
You're
taking
queen
that.
of the podcast.
I'm
You're
taking
queen of
that.
the podcast.
No, she's not. I'm on an 8-0 streak right now. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that was
I'm queen of the
Ultimate.
podcast.
No.
And you removed yourself to the end. You let everybody
No,
go through it,
she
and then
went-
you did it nicely.
I
She
waited
wa-
instead of because I screwed it up in the beginning of the podcast. I was trying not to screw it up
Yeah.
again.
I'm impressed.
Wow, that's surprise ending. Surprise ending. I like that. You
Oh.
fuck. I like that.
And I sent him the rules last night, and I even talked to him, and I was like, "Remember, you did 2 truths last time. Do not do that."
I know.
Yeah, I got the same letter.
I
But I
Same
even
letter.
talked to him
Yeah.
face to face.
had a plan. And she fucked it up. You can't take that away from me. You think I'm gonna invent another plan off the fly? I got what I got, baby. That's it.
That's why you got in trouble with drugs, is because you don't know how to lie. Sir, do you have drugs on you? Yes, I do.
And then I know to keep my mouth shut.
Wow, that was a left turn, and I can't believe you fucking figured it out, Jessica. That's awesome.
The meat, that's what got me. I was like, "There's fool." That's
I
what.
did get her pastrami.
All right, you guys
Well,
were
that's what teed
such
me off.
amazing guests. This was a crazy podcast. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your stories with us. Where can people find you, or what do you have shaking there, David?
I'm Andy.
I'm Andy. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Hey,
I've been spending a lot of time
Ari,
in.
what do you have
I-
shaking?
Well, apparently.
Ari Spears, how's your life been? David.
Well, other than this cheap Jewish thing I have going, everything's been great.
David
David,
Goldstein, are
how's
you
the
a
vagina?
Hey, Harry Berry, how you been?
Okay. So where can people find you, Andy?
in parking lots in Jersey. Where am I? I don't even know where I am next.
Brea, right?
Yeah, I'm Brea. Oh, this week. Well, this is
Well,
going to
we're
come out
not live,
afterwards.
sorry.
I'll be
What's your
in,
social
okay.
media?
New Year's,
okay.
Christmas.
Okay, yeah. For first week of December, I'll be in the DC Improv opening up for Aries.
Oh, nice.
And like I said, I'm working on doing this. I don't even know what it's really. It's more informational about me trying to discover my Mexican roots because walking around as a white guy, I don't really have the background knowledge. I have my history, but I don't know how to work that here in America. So that's really what it's about. And so I'm working on doing that. And you can find me at andycomedy.com, and all my social media is in the upper right-hand corner of my page. And I sell T-shirts, and if you'd like to buy one, I could really use the money.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you should have paid that fucking karma forward, my friend. Anyway. Where can people find you, Craig?
Craig P. Conant on all social medias, and I got a website just freshly built, craigconant.com.
Nice.
When's this come out?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, look me up.
Yep, he can't remember his dates. What about you? Oh, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I start headlining in January. I don't remember the first city, but I got
Okay.
I got some stuff.
Okay.
Just go to my website.
Okay, great. And what's your Twitter handle? Do you want to give any of that?
Craig P. Conant.
Okay, wonderful. What about you, Michael? What do you have shaken?
Tonight, wait, this comes out Thanksgiving. Never mind, my dates in the next few days are irrelevant. Check me out on Instagram. High five, Michael, dog.
Yeah, you have a great Instagram. Even though we tease you a lot about your Twitter, you have a wonderful Twitter. So give him a follow on his Instagram. And I said that backwards, but go ahead. What about you, Austin?
Well, since it's Thanksgiving week, we will see y'all this Saturday, November 30th, at the Belly Room of the world famous Comedy Store. The Liars Club will be there November 30th. Is that right? Is that the right date?
Oh, yeah, for November, yeah.
Okay, why are you looking at me like it's not?
Well, because I was looking at December.
Oh, yeah. So November 30th, the week this podcast comes out, we will be in the Belly Room. Actually, I won't be. I'll be in Florida, but, go Gators.
Okay.
Beat FSU.
Oh, I was just thinking I might have
I'm at the Austin Walker.
What
fucked up
happened?
my comedy dates. Anyway,
Okay.
I will
You don't
be...
remember? Make fun of me, huh?
You
called him David.
I know. You can follow me at Felicia Michaels all across the board. Do me a big favor. Check out Blue Apron. If you put liars in the code box on Blue Apron, you'll get 30% off. Please give us a helping hand by going to look at that. We know 44
Right, you can help us by feeding
people
yourself.
looked at it, but go ahead and put that code in. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm at Jess Wellington 2 on everything. We have shows coming up in December. December 13th, we're at the Ice House at 8 o'clock.
Well, those two really went together well.
Real professional we are here.
And
I love how everybody makes fun of me for my dates, and as soon as it comes to them, they're like, it's hard. It's
hey, at
hard.
least we know the date.
January.
And then we're at the Comedy Store here again in the Belly Room on December 26th, the day after Christmas. So we're doing Thanksgiving and Christmas here at the store. Come and check us out.
Hell yeah.
And remember to subscribe to the Liars Club on YouTube. That is
gotta
the
look
most
this way.
important thing you could do. Michael, did you say your shit?
Yeah, he did. High five, Michael.
Love you, Michael.
Thank you, Craig.
Mm-hmm.
And
Love you, Jess.
And you have kind of been lied to.
And I messed it up. I kept
Yeah,
talking.
that's you fucked up so bad.
I'm not telling that.
Disney believe you.